Hi, Sierra. My name is Riley. Welcome again. It's so nice to have you back. I look forward to this session. Before we get started, I do have to go over some legal things with you again. It's just the same ones that we had gone over before.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so I just want to let you know that anything you say here is confidential unless you tell me you intend to kill yourself or someone else, or that you tell me a minor, elderly person, or otherwise incapacitated person is being harmed. Then I will have to report that, not just for your protection, but also for their protection. Additionally, if you give me written permission to release information, or if I am ever in court, ordered by the judge, I would have to testify. In all of these situations, I would only have to share what is necessary. These are most likely unlikely, but I do have to disclose them just in case. And then again, I am a graduate level intern in the state of Hawaii, and my supervisor's name is Brandon Wild. He can be reached at brandonwild@therapy.com or 928-287-0123. And you can contact him at any time if you have any questions or concerns. So, yeah, thank you so much for reviewing that important legal information with me really quick. Did you have any questions about the limitations or confidentiality?
No, no questions. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. We're going to go ahead and start this session now. So I just want to make sure that we kind of give a recap of what happened last time. So we had sent you home with some homework of practicing those affirmations and those breathing techniques. We had talked about you being in a relationship with your boyfriend for 5 years, and you're just having some issues communicating what you are needing. So you're needing more time, specifically more quality time with him, and that you have this sense of feeling lonely. And then we had gone farther like into your past, and you had mentioned that you were feeling lonely because of this deep root that you have from your parents and getting a divorce and in middle school to high school around that age range. And this has just caused you to have a lot of like trust issues and um, not being able to rely on anyone, which totally makes sense. So, did you still want to discuss the situation, or did you want to talk about something different today?
I think I would like to, stick with the path that we're on and continue to discuss, my current situation and how that's been affecting me and how it's also tied into these, beliefs that I have based on, what I experienced throughout my childhood and my adult life.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. We can definitely do that in this session today. I just wanted to ask you, was there an update on the situation after we had practiced those breathing techniques and those affirmations? Has there been an update since we last met?
I think within the relationship itself, things have stayed pretty much the same as when we last talked, which I know was there was starting to be some improvement. But I'm still having some of those negative thoughts and I'm still having some anxiety. I have been using the deep breathing skills and the affirmation, and they have been really helpful. I think for me, um, the biggest thing is with the affirmation is doing it preventatively. So starting my day with it to kind of get going on a positive note and then using it as needed as well. And then the deep breathing has been really helpful. It's just, I need to implement that skill a little bit earlier, I think. I think sometimes I maybe start it when I'm a little bit more dysregulated. So I think I just need to get better about recognizing, okay, this is what's happening. I need to start using these skills right now to kind of catch it early.
Mm, mhm. Yeah, so just to make sure I understand, so you were doing great on like the affirmations and the breathing techniques, and you said that the affirmations you're starting in the morning, right?
Yeah, I normally, I have it written on a sticky note right on my bedside table, and
Uh-huh.
my phone sits right there. So of course, first thing I do when I wake up is turn my alarm off, so it's already right there. I read it, and then I will access it frequently throughout the day. If I start noticing myself feeling a little bit lonely or getting anxious, then I refer back to that.
Yeah, well, that's great. That's amazing that that has been able to uh, be impactful for you in that situation. So you're doing a great job. I just want to encourage you to keep doing that. Those sticky notes, great idea. Sometimes I know that a lot of people have put the sticky notes like around their house, actually, sometimes like in the bathroom or in the kitchen or in like their work office, just so that way they can have that there. So maybe you could try doing that also. That might be a little bit helpful as well, just throughout the day. And then you mentioned your breathing techniques, that you've been doing a good job at it, but you've been using it, I guess, is it more so as like a last minute kind of resort where it's almost like too late to use it to where your mind is like already in a blur before using it?
Yeah, I would say so. I've been trying to kind of do these little check-ins with myself throughout the day, and when I do that and I do the deep breathing, I think it works really well, but sometimes if I'm starting to have anxious thoughts or I start feeling just upset in general, um, my mind just kind of racing, and I kind of start to spiral. And then I get to a point where I'm like, okay, what do I do? And I start working on the deep breathing. But like you said, I'm a little bit kind of already too far gone by
Mhm.
the by that time that I remember to use the skill. And then
Okay.
it's not super effective for me at that point. So I need to do it a little bit earlier is what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay. So what I'm going to ask you today is um what what is your environment like whenever that happens to you, and like what are some triggers that you may be like noticing that is causing you to do that a little bit later on, just to identify some things.
Um, off the top of my head, what I think of is that, if I'm at work and I'm texting my boyfriend, checking in, how's your day going? How's work going? If I notice that he's taken maybe a little bit of time to respond, or maybe his response is a little bit short, that kind of triggers that thought. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? Why is he being short? And I know realistically that it's that he's at work, he's busy.
Mhm.
That emotional side of my brain gets those thoughts stirring and racing. And then that's where I kind of forget to start implementing the skill, because that emotional side of my brain is a little bit louder than the realistic, more logical side.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, I'm glad that you realize that you're able to look at the situation and kind of take a step back and just realize the facts from it. That's a great coping skill to have. And excuse me, and the fact that you are able to understand that, like, yeah, he is at work and I have these emotions, and that you don't have to tie the two, but sometimes they're already tied before you can even realize that they are, right? So I
Mhm.
think that's the point that we were just trying to get at. And I'm glad that you were able to notice that for sure. um i wanted to ask you I wanted to ask you how that has been going for you. Like, what, how do I word it? Like, what, strategies have you been using to help you, like, recognize that?
I think sometimes depending on what emotions I'm feeling at that time, sometimes I think if I'm feeling just a little bit more sad, then I think that what I can do in that moment is that I can just remind myself that, my boyfriend loves me and he does care about me, and that he's just at work and he's busy. It's okay. We'll talk when we get home.
Mhm.
But I think when I'm feeling a little bit more anxious, then it's hard for me to almost do anything at that point. And I think that's where I kind of just spiral, and I'm not really able to be logical about the situation. I normally will just try to, maybe put my phone away and not really kind of obsess over the responses that I'm getting and the time that it's taking for me to get that response.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like a lot of times, especially, maybe I'm not sure if this is your mindset or not, but sometimes for girls, it's like we expect guys to like respond in a certain way, like
Right.
exclamation points or emojis or something like that, and they just respond kind of like straight up. And to us, it's like, oh, like how could you do that kind of thing? It
Mhm.
definitely makes sense that that you feel that way, and that you are taking time to acknowledge that he is just busy. How has that thought process impacted your relationship? How we're just gonna kind of reframe and use that example and how and try to figure out how that's been impactful for you guys' relationship. Has it not been impactful? Like, how is that situation going with the quality time?
I think it has been helpful. I think now that I'm trying to kind of break things down with myself a little bit more, just based on what we've been working on and talking about in these sessions, I think that I'm able to hold back a little bit more from giving an immediate reaction based on what I'm thinking and how I'm feeling. So I'm not feeling compelled to respond and be like, what's going on? Why are you taking so long? Or,
Yeah.
are you upset with me? Because I know that it doesn't help, even though it's the way that I'm feeling.
Mhm.
But I would say since I've been going to therapy that I have seen those changes because I was able to have that conversation with him and I was able to express, that I felt like my needs weren't being met. So the quality time has definitely been a lot better.
Mhm. That's good. I'm glad that the quality time's gotten a lot better and that your needs are being met now, especially with that quality time.
Mhm.
And then was there any other like needs that haven't been unmet at all? Just anything for us to cover right now with that?
I think it's just more of I think I'm just needing like an equal balance between that verbal reassurance and then also the reassurance
At the
that
time.
is through the actions.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense because it's hard to trust someone whenever their words and their actions aren't lining up. Because it's like, well, if they show the action, do they really mean it in their heart? Well, if they
Yeah.
say it out loud, is their action genuine? So, um, I think that that's great that you are able to recognize that as well. And then how would you say that your resilience with being able to say, okay, I'm going to take a step back, do our breathing techniques. How do you think that that's been able to help you reframe like your idea of asking for like verbal affirmation like from your boyfriend?
I think that I am seeing progress in myself. I think I'm seeing that growth. I think that, from our first session where we were kind of preparing for this conversation that I wanted to have and how much anxiety it was giving me, even just thinking about doing that. I think that now when I address things to him, it doesn't seem as scary
Hmm.
because I can predict now that he's probably not going to be mean about it. He's probably not going to make me feel like I'm asking for too much or I'm being needy. So I think with the having the conversations, that has gotten so much easier for me.
Yeah. So it definitely seems like you've done a lot of self-healing and that you were able to take a step back and look at it from a third perspective. I
Mhm.
remember at the beginning of the session, you said that you were afraid to communicate your needs. And then now you just are able to recognize that, like, yeah, that may be an issue, but I also play a factor in it. And
Mhm.
you took the responsibility and you put in the hard work to recognize and identify those emotions and take a step back and not necessarily associate yourself with them or identify with them. And that's where the progress is at. And I'm so proud of you. That is such a great coping skill that you have done. And
Thank
I
you.
that shows a lot of resilience in you and a lot of growth from where you had came into our session and where you are at now. Um,
Mhm.
was there goals that you had wanted, other goals that you had between you and your boyfriend, or maybe like with yourself that you wanted to continue to work on?
I think some self-esteem building would be really helpful for me. Just learning how to be more confident, like about my, physical appearance and also just that internal confidence as well.
Okay. So you said that you want to focus more on yourself and just like your physical appearance and maintaining that confidence. What would that look like for you in this next step that we're going into in this next goal. And if you were to see yourself having that, what would that look like for you already?
I think that that would show in, I think it would show in a lot of different areas. I think it would, it would be a feeling for one. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that that would also be visible on the outside. I think I would look a lot happier. I would look a lot more confident. And I think that not only is that going to benefit me, but I think it would benefit my relationship as well, because I think, you know, with me being able to move past certain insecurities, I
Mm-hmm.
think I maybe wouldn't need as much reassurance from my partner, because I would know, like, he's attracted to me, and he thinks I'm the most beautiful girl in the world, and I wouldn't have to wonder, okay, if he's not responding to me, is it because of this? Is it because he's not attracted to me? Is it because he's has a crush on somebody else?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that's good. That's really good. I I think that we've identified those things that will help you to love yourself because you like I said, you have to love yourself in order like to love someone else, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that you already are like exploring the side of you with your emotions and trying to capture that before the action or before letting your
Mhm.
get to you is amazing. And the fact that you're now like, okay, like this is what I know that I deserve. Now I need to focus on myself and what I know how I can treat myself because that's what I'm going to be putting up, not putting up with, but like what you end up tolerating is what you end up basically like having, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a wonderful idea that you focus on yourself for now. And like you said, just doing those things and feeling good on the inside and you can see it on the outside. And I think that that's a great new goal that we have for
Mhm.
that. So some things I want to send you with as we are closing off in this session, just some homework for you to go with and just to practice is going to be what do you think about doing like meditation, especially during maybe in the mornings if you'd like to do that with your affirmations?
Mhm.
Meditation really helps with calming your mind and continuing to capture those thoughts and emotions and just to watch them pass by and not identify with them, just as you have been doing. And then maybe counting backwards too, just closing your eyes and when you are feeling anxious or stressed, just counting backwards maybe from like 10 and then just take a deep breath with each one and just try to calm your mind down because that's what it
Mhm.
seems like we're being a little bit thrown off, right? Where you seem like you have the skills, you seem like you know what to do, but it's just the racing thoughts. It's just not being able to catch it in the moment, right? So
Yeah.
counting backwards is definitely going to help with that for sure. And then lastly, another coping skill is going to be a look at the facts. You've already done a great job at doing that. So just taking a step back, acknowledging literally the facts of like, this is what's happening, and also trying to reframe it from the other perspective, just like you had done. Well, my boyfriend, he's working, he's probably busy. It's probably nothing against me. And just things like that, reframing the situation will help you a lot as well with these other skills. How do you
Mhm.
feel about trying to practice those for like a as a homework?
Yeah, I think I could definitely see where that would help me, and I think I'm definitely gonna try them, and um, I'll let you know how it goes next time too. Like, if I feel like it's not working for me, or if I need some additional support in trying to, like, tweak it a little bit to make it more of like something that's unique to me, then we could definitely do that. But I think, it's really helpful information, and I'll definitely start doing that.
Okay, great. So I'm glad that you are willing to do that. We're going to go ahead and end this session right now. Was there any other questions or concerns or anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, I think that, that covers it for today. And I really appreciate your support and your time. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for your time, and I will see you in our next session. Okay. Bye, Sierra.
Bye.